Christmas Eve in Chicago. I'm standing by a shiny trash can on Michigan Avenue with half a sandwich in my hand when a little voice behind me says, "Daddy, why is she eating from the trash?" That question slices through the cold, harder than the wind. I turn and see this tiny girl in a red hat, cheeks pink, fingers in mittens, and her dad in a black wool coat. But the first one to reach me is a thick-necked security guard stomping through slush like a tank. "Hey you, move it. You're stinking up the block. Eat your garbage where customers can't see," he says nice and loud, so everyone turning their bags with gold ribbons can hear. I stand up straighter, slide my arm in front of the little boy on the bench. "I've been trying to feed. Easy." "Don't talk to me like that in front of a child," I say, calm but firm. He smirks. "What? You a saint now in that ragged coat, those busted shoes feeding rats their leftovers?" The kid flinches, my throat tightens, and before I can answer, the dad's voice cuts through the air like a door shutting. "That's enough. Walk away." His tone is quiet steel, the kind that tells you he's used to being obeyed, and the guard looks at him, blinks, hesitates, and steps back, still muttering, "Yeah, that happened." The little girl reaches up with a frosted sugar cookie shaped like a snowman. "You can have mine too," she says. "Daddy says I make them too sweet. I swear that cookie warms my hands faster than any glove." "Thank you, sweetheart," I tell her, and I finally say my name out loud, like I still own it. "I'm Amina." We start to leave, and that's when the glass door of the bistro swings open, and she appears. Sloane Mercer. Black coat, red lipstick, that smile that's more blade than curve. Well, if it isn't Amina Cole still collecting crumbs on the mile. The words hang pretty in the air while they cut. She flicks her gaze at the spiral notebook in my pocket. "Still carrying that recipe book, or is it a survival manual now?" I keep my voice level. Cold night. Sloane go back inside. The dad steps between us just enough to set a boundary without making a scene. She rolls her eyes, pivots, lets her perfume drag dignity down the sidewalk like it's on a leash, and I finally breathe. "You want to know what happened?" I say to the dad. While the lights blink red and green across the street, my sous chef stole recipes, pushed lies to investors, paid off a health inspector I couldn't afford to fight. The kitchen didn't kill my place. Rumors, did you know what I mean? The little girl tugs her dad's sleeve. "Daddy, can she come home for dinner just tonight?" His jaw tightens, then he exhales, looks me in the eye. "One meal, if you want Amina." One meal is a cathedral when you're freezing, so I nod, all right. One. His name is Grayson Hale. The kid is Piper. The house is all stone and warm light, and a fireplace that knows what crackle should sound like. Their housekeeper, Mrs. Rojas, studies me the way people do when they've seen broken things before and believe some still work. I don't sit in their living room like a guest. I go straight to the kitchen. Like a woman finding an old map, I open cabinets. Sweet potatoes, garlic, cayenne. My hands remember before my head does. And I start the dish that once kept my doors open on Sundays. Sweet potato ember skillet, hot oil, shimmering garlic, whispering in it. And when the smell hits the hall, I hear footsteps stop. Grayson's voice softens without him meaning to. "What are you making?" I tell him. He tastes a forkful, and his eyes go somewhere else. "My wife, Olivia, tried to make this for years, never got it right. That taste, that heat, that whisper." He trails off. I open my notebook to a page that still smells like spice. Olivia's version, her handwriting slanted and careful. He touches it like glass might crack. His throat works once. "Yeah, that happened. We eat quietly, like people do when something old and good sits down with them. And when we're done, he speaks like he's proposing a business deal and a truce at the same time. Let me invest, not charity partnership. You run the kitchen, I help build the structure. Amina gets her name back. I lock eyes with him. I don't want pity. I want a level handshake, and if a storm hits, don't you dare leave me at the curb. Deal, he says, simple as a door closing against the wind. Piper claps. So we're cooking together. The storm arrives before sunup, a photo online. Billionaire brings homeless woman home. The comments slice gold digger scam, she's using the kid. Yeah, that mess is then Sloane pops up on a morning segment with sympathy painted on her face like expensive lipstick. Amina had talent, but no discipline. Such a shame I almost laugh because liars love the word discipline. When they mean control, Grayson calls his comms chief, Tanya Brooks. She scrolls my past, listens more than she talks, then says, "No statements. We invite one camera into your kitchen and let your hands talk. Your eyes, talk your food. Talk, bring the notebook. Warm light, no polish, just truth." I nod because cooking is the only language I speak without stuttering. 2 days later, Elena Park sits on a stool while the fire hums. Tell me about Cole's ember. Why did people care? I tell her it wasn't plates and stars. It was the last chair at the back for the nurse who had a double shift. The jazz trio slipping between tables like butter. The comped meals for someone who just landed a job. The way we called people by their names and meant it. She asks the question everyone wants, and the rumors. I lay the notebook on the counter open to Olivia's version. This is her handwriting in my kitchen. These are my recipes. I'm not asking for pity. I'm asking to cook again and put my name back on what I made when the interview airs. The internet does what it does. It bites and it bows. But something shifts. A former server posts a shaky video saying, "I paid every hour and every overtime irregular rights." Her sweet potatoes tasted like someone forgave you, and the wind changes direction, not all at once, but enough to carry smoke away from my eyes. Tanya says, "Let them taste no logos, no sterling stamp, no name recognition, just a pop-up in Pilsen called the harbor food that speaks." At first, it's empty enough to hear forks breathe. I tell my crew. Cook like the room is full 15 minutes later. It is a critic walks in, anonymous, takes 1 spoon of gumbo, sets it down like he's writing an apology. He owed me years ago. By the time people learn my name, the applause is already inside their ribs. Sloane fires back with a neat piece called Sterling Subsidies. The subtext is loud. She's just his face. I look at Grayson. "See, they'll always say it's you," Tanya smirks. Then we do a truly blind test, no reveal at all. And we do people still come eyes close on the first bite, open on the second, like they recognized an old song and didn't know why. You know what I mean? That's when Sloane goes from smug to nasty. Toxic kitchen. The headline says, "Anonymous quotes, accuse me of cruelty. I don't know how to practice," Tanya says. No, silence, press room, small, tight. We do it our way. I bring the notebook, put it on the lectern like a heart that refuses to hide. I demand excellence, I say. I don't demand abuse. Kitchens should teach respect, or they're just noise. If anyone has proof of harm, I'll shut my doors myself. If all you have is rumor, I'll open them wider. Grayson steps up. I didn't drag Amina anywhere. She walked in carrying fire. I opened a door. The fire is hers. The room shifts. Questions soften, not weak, just honest. Then the twist hits like thunder. Tanya drops a folder on our table with prints of Shell charity loops and donor money circling back to Sloane's pockets. Whistleblowers ready to talk. We go public. Regulators move. Sloane cries on TV. The tears hit their marks but not their targets. I decide the only argument worth making is cooked, so we set one long table in Union Station under those high windows, and that old echo families and suits and guys off the street sit side by side. We serve gumbo and cornbread and sweet potatoes until the steam looks like hymns people eat and breathe for the first time all week. Tonight, your family, I say, not a slogan, a promise. Court is cold, always is. I stand with my notebook like it's my grandmother's hand. I tell the jury I'm not here to burn anyone. I'm here so the next woman who builds something with her hands doesn't get erased by someone with a better lawyer and a colder smile. I show Olivia's writing. I look at Piper's small face in the second row. The verdict lands hard, fraud restitution bans, and the cheer in my chest is quiet, not mean, just relieved. Because a win in court doesn't give you back years. It gives you the right to go build more, so. We find a corner spot in Avondale with a maple tree and a stubborn door. We sand the counters. Neighbors paint walls. Former staff lug in mismatched chairs. Mrs. Rojas feeds the crew. Piper runs around in a yellow apron like sunshine with pockets. We call it harbor and hearth, because everyone deserves a landing and a flame. Opening night isn't grand, it's good. The kind of good that lives in your bones. Critics come ready to be careful and leave unguarded. A man raises a glass and says, "To the flame that didn't die, I say. To the table that always has one more chair." Grayson stands behind the pass, watching the rain blur the window, and I can almost feel Olivia laughing in the cayenne and cinnamon later. When the dish pit hums and the lights go low, I open my notebook and finally write on a new page. This fire was never mine alone. It belongs to the woman who wrote here, to the child who handed me a cookie on a freezing night, to the man who said deal and meant it, to the people who showed up hungry and left seen. And here's the part that might sting a little. Sloan did time headlines moved on, but the people who cheered when I was pushed to the curb, do they change, or do they just find a new person to push when a stranger's hand goes into a trash can? Next winter, will anyone say, one meal if you want, or will they look away and call it discipline? You tell me, because that ending is yours as much as mine. Drop your take below. What's right? What's prejudice dressed as standards? What does justice look like when it finally shows up late to the party? And if you've ever seen rumors bury someone, or you've been that someone, share it, argue it, challenge me. Let's put one more chair at this table together.